this is Rudy Davis. I'm going to try to tell a quick story tonight. I'm going to try to make this very quick. I've got people in the house who are sleeping, so I'm going to try to talk slow and maybe a little bit lower than usual. It's just a simple story. I hope it's a powerful story. I hope I get my point across. And I think it's such a powerful story that I wanted to put it on video. It comes from Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged, so she gets all the credit. But here's the story. It's the story of a 20th century motor company. At the 20th century motor company, it was the most prosperous and best motor company on the face of the planet. All right? In the United States, it had the best designers, it had the best motor builders, it had the best workers. Even the janitors of the company were very happy and made a good living. It was a very prosperous company, and it was a good organization that was very profitable, and everybody was prosperous and happy at the company. Now, the owner of the company died, and he had a daughter. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. His daughter's name, let's call her Myrtle. So Myrtle was not an ambitious woman. She believed that everybody should get paid based on need rather than production and achievement. So she called a meeting together and she said, "My father has died, and I'm going to turn control of this company over to all the workers, and we're all going to get paid the same. And because the company is so prosperous, everybody will participate in the great rewards of the company." So they voted on it, and because everybody thought that they would get a little bit more from the company, it passed with a majority vote. And after a certain amount of time, the producers and achievers of the company realized that they had no incentive to work hard and design better motors, and the people that built the motors thought they don't have any incentive to build better motors, and so the production of the company went down, and there was less and less profit to pass around. And the other effect to this, it's not just the profits of the company went down, but they had town hall meetings to dole out the little profits that were remaining. And Myrtle, of course, was the lady who you had to talk to about doling out the profits. And keep in mind that the profits of the company are now distributed based on need rather than production and achievement. And you would have people get up and tell about how they're down in their back and how their children have measles and how their wife is pregnant. And it was a very heart-wrenching story, and Myrtle awarded them more of the profit. And this had an impact on all the people of the company in the town hall meetings. And eventually, the unethical among the crowd would get very good at telling a story. Not to say that there wasn't those in true need, but it became apparent that if you could get up in front of the company at the town hall meeting and tell a very powerful story about how bad your life was going, you would get rewarded more from the profits. And there's so many aspects to what happened. Of course, the company eventually went out of business, and there wasn't a job for anybody left. But let me share something that I wanted to share. You have to understand that in the old ways, where you rewarded people based on production and achievement, when you had the birth of a child, it was a blessed event, and everybody concerned would celebrate, and it was a truly blessed event. In the new way, under Myrtle, when you had the birth of a child, there were those that looked upon that as you're going to get more from Myrtle because you can you believe that? I can't redo this video, I don't have time. That's the phone ringing, I'm going to have to let it. I have limited time, people. I'm so sorry. I don't have time to redo these videos, and I wish people would stop calling me. But in any event, let me go turn that off. I'm really sorry. Hold on. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't have time to remake another video. I got to get this out right now, and I got 5 minutes. Another impact of what happened in that company is when people would have children just to get additional rewards from Myrtle, so the birth of a child was no longer a blessed event. The dynamic of the people shifted, and it no longer became, we're all trying to work together to produce a prosperous company, but, you know, if the whole dynamic shifted so that when you're paid based upon your need, everybody was looking at each other in a different light because nobody wanted to, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but you have to understand the dynamics that happened when you get in a situation where you pay based on need. It's a very bad situation. It's not good for anyone concerned. All of the people eventually lost their jobs. I would ask you to consider that, and as we get in this point in our American history, that where we no longer reward people for producing and achieving and doing right, and we're going to start doling out rewards to those based on their need. And there may be some among you who watch this that think I do not have a heart, and that this is a very cold story, and that you may think to yourself, that Rudy is not willing to accept the burden of the situation that I just described. But you may think to yourself that you're strong enough to receive this burden, and you're going to do the best you can, even though the people of the company are taking advantage of the situation and getting more and more, even though they don't produce and achieve anything. And that's a noble thought. I see a noble thought in your thoughts, that even though you're being taken advantage of, you're going to continue to work hard, and you will just accept the fact that you're being taken advantage of. That's noble. Let me share this with you, and think very hard about this tonight. It isn't just you that's accepting that burden. You're putting that burden on our children, and our children are going to grow up in the atmosphere of a company that dynamic has changed. They're going to grow up in a company where it's full of bootlickers and moochers, and it's not going to be an environment of happiness and pride in yourself and all working together to be better and better. It's going to be an environment of moochers and bootlickers and whining. It's not just you that carries the burden. You have to understand what this is going to do to the environment that we'll create for our children. Again, I don't have a lot of time tonight. Hopefully you can hear me and I got my point across. It's a story that's in Atlas Shrugged. That's one of my favorite books. Please think about what I said, and think about what's going on in America. And think about the fact that you're not the only one carrying the burden, and I'm not the only one carrying the burden. I'm not saying that I'm a producer and achiever, and if anybody is blessed on this planet, it's me. But we cannot do this to our children. That's really all I got to say. Thank you for your time tonight.